this recorded lecture will cover the parts of the film holder. So we know that radiographic films are very sensitive. Therefore, we have to properly handle it to prevent unnecessary exposure. That's why we have this light-tight device, which is called the film holder, that will contain the film during every examination. We have two types of film holder. First, we have the cardboard, which is used primarily by direct exposure films. So this has a tube side and a back side. The tube side or the front side and the back side that is usually composed of lead to prevent backscatter. Next is the cassette. Cassette is used by screen film or the double emulsion type of a film. So these are rigid film holder that contains the film and the intensifying screens. These are light-tight holder and made of hinged metal and bakelite frames. So yung usual na nakikita nyo nowadays, especially sa school natin, I know nakita nyo na yung mga cassette natin. That is the cassette. Okay? So cassette yun yung nabubuksan natin. It is composed of hinges and locks, and doon natin inilalagay yung X-ray films during every examinations. Okay, so now let's proceed to the cross-section of a cassette. So as you can see on the image, this is a film on a cassette. A cross-section of a film inside a cassette. Pero hindi na tayo magpupunta sa parts ng film. Tapos na tayo doon. We will focus on the parts of the cassette. First, we have the low atomic front. Okay? So, pag sinabing low atomic front or low atomic number front, it is the front side of the cassette where it is usually made of a low atomic number material such as plastic. So, bakit po low atomic number yung material na kailangang gawin? Because it should be designed with a minimum attenuation of X-ray beam. Dapat nakaka-attenuate pa din ang ating X-rays. Okay? So, the design of our front side of the cassette should be thin and sturdy. Hindi dapat agad-agad masisira, pero manipis. Okay, so alam natin plastic is sturdy, right? Okay, so next to the low atomic number front side is the contact felt. Okay, contact felt is a compression device that is usually made of radiolucent plastic foam. It will maintain the screen film contact when the cassette is closed and latched. Okay, so the compression device is usually a foam. Malambot yan. Okay? So, ang trabaho ni contact felt is it compresses the intensifying screen and the film together. So, mas pinagdidikit niya. Dapat kasi ang film natin sa loob ng cassette is in close contact with the intensifying screen or dapat intact. Hindi dapat siya paalog-alog sa loob ng ating cassette. Okay? So, that's the reason why we have compression device. Again, compression device is made up of sponge, specifically a radiolucent plastic foam that compresses our intensifying screen and film itself. Okay, it remains or it maintains the close contact of our intensifying screen and film. Okay, so now we're done with the front side of the cassette. Let's proceed to the back cover. So, back cover of the cassette is usually made of heavy metal to minimize backscatter. Okay, kung katulad nung sa cardboard natin, it is made up of lead sheet. Sa ating cassette, it is possible that lead sheet din ang gamit for the backside of the cassette to minimize backscatter. Why do we need to minimize the backscatter? Dapat kasi ma-absorb niya yung extra X-rays na nag-attenuate all throughout to our cassette. to prevent another scatter radiation that causes dosage or extra dosage of radiation to the patient. So therefore, we have to use a high atomic number material on the backside of the cassette to minimize backscatter. Okay, so kung hindi natin minimize yung backscatter, we will just add an additional dosage to the patient. Ayaw naman natin nun. Okay? So, from the front side and the back side, it is followed by a contact felt, right? After that contact felt, doon na papasok ang ating intensifying screens. Okay? So, sa intensifying screens, meron pa din siyang kanyang sariling cross-section. We have the base, the reflective layer, the phosphor, and the protective coating. So, ma'am, what is intensifying screens? Intensifying screens, it is the device that converts the energy of the X-ray beam into the visible light. Okay? So, siya yung bahalang transform or mag-convert ng ating X-ray beam into visible light. Okay? So, this amplifies the effect of image-forming X-rays that reach the screen film cassette. Once na ang X-rays is nag-attenuate sa patient, papasok siya sa cassette. Tama? After niyang ma-reach yung cassette, there is a certain point kung hanggang saan lang yung ating X-rays. Because once na ma-reach niya ang intensifying screens, it will be converted into light energy. Those light energies from our intensifying screens are responsible for the formation of our latent image. Okay? So, ganun yung trabaho ni intensifying screen. Start muna tayo sa protective coating layer of our IS. Pag sinabi natin IS, that is the intensifying screens, okay? So, this is the layer closest to the radiographic film. Kapag naglagay tayo ng film inside the cassette, ang una niyang madadampian, ang una niyang malalapatan, the first part that it will touch is the protective coating. So, our protective coating have a 10 to 20 micrometers thick. Again, our protective coating is 10 to 20 micrometers thick. So, this makes the screen resistant to abrasion and damage caused by handling. Kaya siya tinawag na protective coating because it will protect our phosphors. Okay? So, protective coating helps to eliminate the buildup of static electricity and provides a surface for routine cleaning without disturbing the active phosphors. Phosphors are the active layer or the active ingredient of our intensifying screens because they are responsible for emitting light. Okay? Therefore, we have to protect them. Kaya tayo merong protective coating sa intensifying screens. Para kahit anong paglagay natin ng film sa ating cassette, it won't affect our phosphors. Kahit linisin natin siya routinely, kasi dapat malinis yung cassette. Once na hindi siya malinis, there could be possibility na magkaroon siya ng artifact sa ating radiograph. Therefore, there is a routine cleaning of our intensifying screens. So, kung wala tayong kung wala tayong protective coating on our intensifying screens, kapag pinunasan natin yan, madadamage si phosphor. So, once na madamage si phosphor, hindi niya magagawa yung kanyang trabaho. Okay? So, this protective coating is transparent to light. Tumatagos yung light. The light can pass through our protective coating. Next layer to the protective coating is the phosphor. As I've said, this is the active layer of our IS. So what does phosphor do is it will emit the light during the stimulation by X-rays. Okay, so parang ganito yan. Andito na naman si ma'am, magdodrawing na naman si ma'am, pangit naman magdrawing. Let's say this is the patient. Nakahiga yung patient. This will be your cassette. Andito ang film. So, let's say, andito ang ating phosphors. Kasi, nakakaset nga tayo, diba? So, may intensifying screens. Andito ang ating X-ray source. Wait. Yan. So, nag-expose ka. Lalabas si X-rays. Does the same amount of X-rays released by our X-ray source, the same ba siya nang tatago sa patient? No. Kasi magkakaroon ng attenuation. Okay? So, once na nag-pass through yung X-rays, uunti yan. Magkakaroon ng attenuation sa katawan ng pasyente. So, it doesn't mean na kung gaano karami yung X-rays na na-produce ng source mo or ng tube will be the same amount of X-rays that could interact with your cassette. Tatandaan, there will be an attenuation and absorption, okay, inside the body of the patient. So, kapag tumagos yung X-rays on the patient, uunti yung radiation mo. Uunti si X-rays. And these X-rays will interact with our intensifying screen. Kapag nagkaroon ng interaction, si radiation to the intensifying screens, what will happen? Our intensifying screen will convert the X-rays into light. Okay? Therefore, yung aabot sa ating film is not the X-ray, but the light emitted by our intensifying screen. And sino yung kayang mag-emit ng light sa layers ng ating intensifying screen? That is your phosphor. Okay? So, going back, as I've said, this converts the X-ray beam into light. Our phosphor have a thickness of 150 to 300 micrometers thick, depending on the type of screen. Ma'am, bakit po depending? Kasi meron tayong two types of screen. It could be a calcium tungstate, which is it is the active substance of most phosphors before about 1980s. Ito yung mga naunang type of phosphors on our intensifying screens before about 1980s. Kung sa Tagalog, ito yung mga sinaunang phosphor. Ito yung mga ginagamit na phosphor during the 1980s. So, kay calcium tungstate, it is in the form of crystalline or crystalline. So, this crystalline calcium tungstate is embedded on a polymer matrix. Okay? So, yung dating phosphors are called calcium tungstate. These are the phosphors before about the 1980s. Today, we have a newer and faster screens. The material used for these screens are called the rare earth crystals. Okay? So, sa rare earth crystals, may tatlo yan. It could be a gadolinium, wrong spelling. Gadolinium, lanthanum, Sorry, bobo ko mag-type. Lanthanum and yttrium oxysulfide. Okay, so those are the three rare earth crystals or rare earth oxysulfides that are used as a material of our phosphors today. For our modern phosphors, the materials used are the rare earth oxysulfides, the gadolinium, lanthanum, and yttrium oxysulfide. Next to our phosphor is the reflective layer. Okay, so the reflective layer is placed between the phosphor and the base. It has an approximately 25 micrometers thickness. Again, our reflective layer's thickness is approximately 25 micrometers thick. So our reflective layer is made up of, this is the reflective layer. It is made up of magnesium oxide or titanium oxide. Our reflective layers are made up of magnesium oxide or titanium dioxide. Titanium dioxide. These two substances are shiny. Okay, so from the word itself, reflective layer, ang trabaho niya is it will reflect the lights emitted by our phosphors. Reflective layer reflects the light that is emitted by our phosphors. Ang pag-reflect niya is naka-isotropic emission. Again, its reflection is based on an isotropic emission. When we say isotropic emission, it is emitted with equal intensity in all directions. So, halimbawa, dito red, okay. May na-emit na light, si phosphor. Tumama kay reflective layer. What will happen on the reflective layer is that it will double up the light in isotropic emission. Therefore, our reflective layer enhances the efficiency of the radiographic intensifying screen, nearly doubling the number of light photons that will reach the film. Did you get it? Again, burahin natin, pag-ibahin natin ang kulay. This is the amount of light given or emitted by our phosphors. What will happen on the reflective layer is that it will double up the amount of light that could reach the film. So, kapag na-double up niya or na-reflect niya in isotropic emission, ganito yung manner ng light. It is equal intensity on the same direction or in all direction. So, kung konti lang yung na-emit ni phosphor na light, our reflective layer is there to help na mas mapadami or i-double up yung amount of light that could reach our film. Okay? So again, isotropic emission, yung manner ng pagre-reflect ng ating reflective layer. When we say isotropic emission, there is an emission of light with equal intensity in all directions. Okay? So for the last part of our intensifying screen is the base. our base is approximately 1,000 micrometers thick. Or kapag tinanong kayo in millimeters, 1 millimeters yung thickness. So this is the layer farthest from the film. This serves principally as the mechanical support for the active phosphor layer. Diba ang ating film, it has two parts, the base and the emulsion. So base of our radiographic film supports our silver halide crystal. Tama? Or our base of the film is responsible para makontrol yung mismong size ng image natin or ng ating film. Or it is the structure of our radiograph. So dito kay base, it also provides a support or a mechanical support for the active phosphor layer. Okay, so our base, just like on the radiographic film, it acts as a support. So for the intensifying screen, the base or the material that is used as a base is polyester. Again, the material used as a base for intensifying screen is polyester. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to the cross section. Okay, now we're done with the base. It means tapos na tayo sa buong cross section ng intensifying screen. We have the two outer part layer of our films, which is the low atomic number front material. Commonly used is plastic. The lower or the outer back material, the higher atomic number back, which is composed of heavy metal. To minimize backscatter, specifically may lead sheet yung ating back material, followed by the contact felt on both sides that is used as a compression or to maintain the close contact of our film and intensifying screens. And we have already discussed the cross section or the parts of the intensifying screens, the base, the phosphor, and all like protective layer and the reflective layer. So these are the cross section of a film on a cassette. So paano po ang nangyayari kapag na-struck ng radiation ang ating cassette? We have a phosphor that will convert our X-rays into light, and this light will interact with our films. Naaalala, our films are or does have a green sensitive or blue sensitive type of a film, right? Yung mga sensitivity na yon is for light sensitivity. Kaya siya light sensitivity because our phosphors emits light. Hindi na X-rays yung magi-interact on our film inside the cassette. Light na yung magkakaroon ng interaction. Ang nagkakaroon ng direct interaction with X-rays to our emulsion is just for a direct exposure film. But for a screen film type of a cassette and film, the light interacts on our emulsion. Okay? So, kay emulsion, andun si silver halide crystals na sila yung bahala na mag-form ng latent image. Okay? So, these are the parts of the cassette. And if you guys have questions, feel free to message me. This is the last topic that will be included on your prelim examination. Actually, this PowerPoint have more slides or have a few slides, but it will be continued on our midterm. Okay, so thank you everyone for listening. And again, if you have questions, feel free to message me.